On today's show, Luka Doncic has kickstarted and turned around his season. Where can it take the Dallas Mavericks, and how has he become so much better over this last stretch? We'll talk about that and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
The Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good!
And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every single day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, where you can find this show after every single game and 5 days a week. We are here, and joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, and contributor at Mavs.com, the all-star son, the one more thing king. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
It's break time. At least for the NBA or for the Mavs, as they get, 3 days? Basically 3 days off. A lot of you guys listen to this on a Tuesday.
1, 2, 3, Cancun.
That was Luka's whole vibe the whole weekend. Watching him trot up and down the court in the second half was incredible. It looks like me right now when I try to play pickup.
He did hit more catch and shoot threes in a single game than he did the entire rest of the season, though. So in a single game.
I mean, hey, I can play off ball. That's all he's saying.
If he's trying to improve that point, I think he may have made and proved that point. So, all right, today we're going to be talking about Luka Doncic. Surprise, right?
Shocker. Locked on Luka.
Surprise that we'd be talking about that.
Locked on Mavs or Cowboys?
But Luka, at the start of the season, we've heard the narratives. If someone is still feeding you this narrative, turn it off. Don't listen to whatever media you're watching or listening to that say, well, Luka, he's out of shape and he's not playing efficient basketball and it's just not been the same. And he drove Kristaps Porzingis out of town. There's all these things that we heard. Some of them at the start of the season were true. We talked about them. We talked about how Luka did come in out of shape. He was not efficient to start the year. A couple months into the season, the Mavericks were still worse with Luka on the court than they were off the court, right? There were some things to start the season that painted Luka Doncic in a very negative light, for sure. But I think all those things have changed, right? You think all that stuff has completely changed and flipped around. Right now, Luka, going into this All-Star break, was on the best tear of his season. I mean, for February, he's averaging like 36 points a game. I mean, he's going for it. He's shooting well. The Mavericks are positive now when he's on the court, and it seems like he's turned this around and he's really figured out how to play. And I think that we should talk about what made the change.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you asked me a month ago, it's like, hey, does Luka have a shot at MVP? Will he even be in the conversation? Just a month ago, after how he started the season, I would have told him, like, I don't think so. I think the hole was so deep that he dug, at the beginning of the season because, like Nick said, he was out of shape. And I feel like we've mentioned that, periodically a handful of times over the past month or so of like referencing that beginning of the season, and it never fails. There's some Luka, stands out there. It's like, why are we still talking about this? You at least have to mention it. I mean, even Luka recognizes, even when he talked to Callie Kaplan in that story about how he's changed up some of his, eating habits and stuff. It's like, even he recognized where he was at as far as his body and stuff. He wasn't playing to the caliber that he could play at. And so I'm like, all right, some of these guys they've kind of increased that lead so far. But man, over the past month, we've seen, the memes, we've seen the jokes. Jason Gallagher, said, was joking about on Twitter, is like, this is Luka Doncic as Thor, basically making his appearance into the MVP conversation.
Bring me Thanos.
But it's like, even that, I don't think he's cracking that top three right now. I mean, Jokic, Embiid, Giannis.
In our hearts, yes. On the actual ballots, no, probably not.
But I think he has started to break into that next category of the DeMar DeRozan, Steph Curry, that second group of players because of, and going back to that, if you asked me a month ago, could Luka break into that? I'd be like, no, the only way he could is if he went like supernova, and he's went supernova because I mean, you look at his stuff over the past 15 games. You look at his stuff over the past 10 games. The past 10 games for Luka Doncic, he's averaging 35 points in that stretch, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. He's a plus 13. He's shooting 43% from three. This is his last 10 games. Like, this is insane. So it's just the stretch he's on is unbelievable. Now let's just hope that it continues coming out of whatever vacation he's on or whatever island he's on.
With Jokic or whoever he's tampering with. So what did turn his season around, though? Like, I think we can all see with our eyes and the stats that we mentioned that it has changed, right? He's gotten a lot better. Has new Holger finally got a hold of Luka? And you know what? Maybe it has, right? Because Luka sat down with Callie Kaplan, Dallas Morning News. Go read the article, one-on-one with Luka Doncic, and Callie talks about a couple of things that Luka did change. And like you mentioned earlier, he said, I changed my diet, mostly just eating healthier. That was the key to be here. To be here the way that he's playing right now, changing his diet has been the key. He also has not missed a game since January 7th. Right. Yeah. He missed a whole bunch of random games at the beginning of the season. Remember, at the beginning of the season, he kept coming up with some kind of injury and he would fall and we'd cringe. And when's the last time we did that? I mean, he does fall a couple times and occasionally, and we cringe, but he doesn't stay down and writhe and hold his ankle. We haven't seen that much recently. It's been all business in that area, but it's also because he's in better shape. And when you're in better shape, you don't get hurt as often, right? Some of us that are out of shape, you can run, some of us can run like 100 yards. And at the end, we're like, holding my shins because I'm feeling bad. Luka doesn't have to do that if he's in shape, right?
Yeah. I mean, even, you look at his first 2.5 months of the season, we obviously know COVID played into a handful of these, good chunk of these games. So he missed 15 games over the first 2.5 months. And for him to not miss a game at all since January 7th, that speaks volumes to where he's at as a player. You go back to that that stretch when he left for COVID. It's like we were all talking about. It's like, all right.
He said he left for COVID.
Sorry.
Like if it was a destination that he was going to. He had to take that time to go take the COVID test.
But y'all know what I'm saying. And it's like we were all speculating. It's like, all right, he was out for 2 weeks? I think it was over 2 weeks. Like, is he getting back into shape as he recovers and comes out of COVID?
Almost 3 weeks.
So it's like, bam. Then we started seeing, we started like speculating on the pod, like, does he look slimmer? Like, I feel like he looks slimmer. Threw it out there a few times. Like you've seen it.
That was our little conspiracy that they were holding him out longer to get him back into better shape.
Yeah. It's like, and you could see it as not just in his, like, just his explosiveness and everything, getting to the rim and all of that, but you could see it like physically in his body.
Yes.
And then we saw a tiny little thing there of like Tim McMahon adds a little excerpt into this, like, I don't know, power rankings type thing for ESPN. And it's like sources tell us him, Luka's dropped 15 pounds since the beginning of the season. I feel like we saw another thing since then about him losing even more weight. And now we're seeing the Luka that, we've seen over the past month, the same Luka that's averaging, 35, 10 and 10.
Okay. So if anybody's going to come at us and say that, why are we talking about his weight still? That's what Luka attributes to this change, right? That is what he has said. He said, that's the key to me being here, just eating healthier and getting in shape. He also mentioned the other day when asked about playing longer stretches of time, playing 40 minutes a night at times, he said, hey, it helps you get in better shape. That's something that's been on his mind, right? And so that, I think, has been the big change. In this article Callie Kaplan, wrote, he said that, she said that Luka took time to decompress in August and September. And Luka said, I relaxed a little bit too much. That's about as much as we're going to get,
bro.
That's what we're going to get, as much as we're going to get from Luka.
Everybody who gets married after the first, 2 years of marriage, and they're like, somebody asked them about it, and you're like, yeah, I just relaxed a little too much, after you got married. And
the Netflix and chill takes on a different persona after you get married, for sure.
And then kids come along. So after Netflix and chill. So he also said he didn't eat seafood. He doesn't.
I was gonna say,
my man.
The food that he's eating, he said, chicken and rice and vegetables is the most popular with me because I don't eat a lot of seafood.
I guess he didn't go to Papado with Moses.
No, he's not going to Papado. I don't know if he went to Papado with Moses or with Dennis Smith Jr. when he was here either. By the way, Dennis Smith Jr. available. Should the Mavs pick him up?
I'd rather have Javon Carter. So
it's an interesting name for the offseason, but it's not going to happen right now.
Dennis, a name for the offseason?
Sure.
All right. Well, So coming up, we have an ad break.
No, stop. Coming up, how has Luka Doncic played differently? What are the things in his game that he's changed that has actually been noticeably better? Why has this change in his body, change in his fitness, change in conditioning, what does it do to help the Mavericks? We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about betonline.net. They have all the odds and lines for you to check out all the time. You can go and check out some of the NBA games they have coming up. They have college basketball games. If you're watching that, since there is no NBA, they have NBA futures right now. Ooh, the Golden State Warriors tied with the Phoenix Suns for the NBA championship odds. They're both plus 425. Then you have
this ball injury.
The Nets at plus 600, Bucks at plus 650, Sixers plus 700. You have to go all the way down to the Dallas Mavericks are plus 4,000. Plus 4,000, less than the Bulls, the Grizzlies, the Nuggets, the Celtics. Obviously the Lakers, because their odds are always inflated. But if you want to put down some money on that, go check it out. Bet Online, the best spots for all your sports scores, news, and everything this season. It's not just basketball. They have all their hockey, boxing, UFC, everything. Go check it out. Bet Online. It's where the game starts. All right, Isaac Harris, let's get into Luka Doncic's season. What has been better about Luka this year? And I started digging into some numbers, and I started thinking about, okay, well, the Mavericks have won some late games recently. The Mavericks have won some clutch games, and I started to look into some of those numbers, and the clutch stats for the Mavericks are really, really fascinating to me. It's just the raw record. So the Mavericks in clutch games, the game is, within 5 points, under 5 minutes to go. So it's a close game, basically. Last 5 minutes, it's a close game. At any point during that stretch, it's a close game. The Mavericks are 14-7 in clutch games when Luka plays. That's a really good record. I mean, that's 7 games above 500. That's just a really good record in clutch games.
Breaking news. Mavs are good when Luka plays.
The Mavericks, when Jalen Brunson plays, are 13-14 in clutch games when Brunson plays.
Not that big of a difference.
You can't see, if you can't see Isaac's face on the podcast, he made a weird face. So the Mavericks they basically lost 7 more games when Luka is not playing, and it's just Jalen Brunson, right? If you can point at a stat that shows how important Luka is in any way, it's that one. Here's a weirder one. The Mavericks were 5-9 in clutch games when Porzingis played this year.
5-9.
5-9, right? So that is how much Luka Doncic means to this team. If he is not on this team, the Mavericks are a below 500 clutch team for sure. And even some of the games when those other guys did and Luka did as well. But in the clutch, you start looking at what has changed for Luka this year. What has been different? And obviously, his usage percentage has been up this year. Luka this year is handling the ball more than ever. He doesn't really have anybody else to seems like to pass to at times. His usage is at 37. It's the highest of his career during the regular season. 37%. In the clutch, his usage goes down to 30%.
I shared a little bit with JB.
It goes down. He's sharing the ball a little bit more in clutch time. He only takes 1.9 field goal attempts per game in the clutch. Other guys that have a 30% usage in the clutch are the top guys, the guys that have the highest usage in the clutch, which means these are the guys late in games. They're getting the ball in their hands and nobody else is taking it away from him. No, they're not giving it to anybody else. Trae Young, 49%. That team is literally Trae Young or nothing. 50% of the time, Trae Young ends the possession, basically. Embiid and Jokic at 43%. Durant at 42%. Ja at 40%. Steph Curry, 39%. DeRozan, 36%. LeBron, 35%. Luka is not up there with those guys in terms of usage in the clutch. He's spreading it around. Now listen to the players that are close to Luka in usage percentage in the clutch this year.
I'm ready.
30% is where Luka is. Giannis, Chris Paul, Booker, Tatum, Levine, and Fred VanVleet. Luka is sharing the ball in the clutch like some of these guys that have multiple stars on their team. Chris Paul and Booker, both at around 30%. Luka is sharing the ball in the clutch in the way that those two guys are. Or Giannis with Middleton and Drew Holiday. Or Tatum with Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's is pretty close to 30%. Fred VanVleet with Pascal Siakam. He is sharing the ball in that way. And I think that's been a big change for him this year. And I think that is something that's allowed him to be more effective in the plays that he is using. And then also, the conditioning has helped him out late in order to help him win in these clutch moments. So all of that to say, the Mavs are really good when Luka plays in the clutch. He's handling the ball and using the ball less than normal. Still a lot. 30% is still a lot, but less than he does during the rest of the game. They're sharing the ball more, the Mavericks are. They're spreading the ball out more, and it's helping them win games.
Well, and a lot of that has to do with the leap that Jalen Brunson has made. It's like he has a reason to trust. And I mean, who was he? This was my only thing before that I didn't get. I love Donnie, but I didn't get the exit interview. I didn't get the narrative that it wasn't just the media narrative that, Donnie, Kevin the Mavs, had kind of put out there of the, I got to get Luka to share the ball more, that type of thing.
When Donnie Nelson left, Mavs former president of basketball operations, left in his exit interview last year, one of his parting words, basically, this is one of his last words he said as the president of the Mavericks was, Luka's got to learn to share the ball. He's got to learn how to be a team player, basically, and share the ball around and get guys involved. And that rubbed you the wrong way and still does.
It does, because we got to get players for him to trust. And it's like, so we're going to get upset that Luka's not sharing the ball with Wes Matthews, or he's not trying to throw a lob to Dennis, or, hey, we got to feed the post, get KP those post touches. It's like, okay, like these are the players that we're asking Luka to trust in those clutch moments. Now Jalen Brunson has taken that leap. He has taken that next step up to where, that jump, it might seem small to some people out there, but that jump from 12 points a game to 16 points a game, his shooting percentage is like, he's become a solid, I don't want to say, I didn't want to get too far ahead of myself as the perfect sidekick, next to Luka, all that, but he's become a better player that's like, hey, he's on the floor in the clutch moment. You're okay with him having a ball, but also what helps those usage numbers is they're getting Luka off the ball. It's like they're running Luka off screens more. They're running, kidding them, they're designing some incredible stuff. Like you go back and trying to watch some more stuff over the All-Star weekend of just how they're getting Luka the ball more. It's not just a Luka dribbled the ball down. All right, let's just ISO it out, run that Dwight Powell pick and roll, all of that, and which is fine. Like you sprinkle it, but then sprinkle in some of the other stuff of, hey, let's get him rolling off, he's coming off a screen, catching it, he's at the free throw line, now he's making a decision. He's hitting the corner, he's shooting the floater, let him make the decisions. And I feel like that's helped him up. I feel like it's helped him kind of save the energy, but it's also helped his use, everything. So I think coaching staff deserves credit. I think Luka deserves credit. I think Jalen Brunson deserves credit.
And that's what's been different this year, I think. That's what's been different. The reason why the Mavericks are a good clutch team when Luka plays is sharing the ball a little bit more, is being able to be a team, to trust your teammates a little bit more. The ball movement late in games. We've seen some really good moments where the Mavericks just throw the ball around. And so Luka may not get that bump in usage percentage because it's a hockey assist. I don't think you get any credit in your usage percentage if you pass the ball to somebody else who passes the ball to somebody else who then scores, right? But we've seen that from the Mavericks. We've seen that ball movement late in games, and that's what's helped them win. And that's a thing that's been better for Luka this year.
Yeah, we've seen, look at this stretch, that stretch, looking at his past 10 to 15 games, we talked about his points and, the 51, he missed the free throws to get 50 again. But look at that stretch there from, it's January 26th into February. He had 7 straight games that he had double digit assists. These are assist numbers over the 7 games, 15, 12, 11, 10, 15, 11, 11. That's just dumb. That's dumb that a player.
It's almost a record. It's 1 game off of Jason Kidd's record for the most in Mavericks history.
Yeah. So it's he's just, when he's dialed in like that, it feels like nobody can touch him. It feels like he's just on that. That's Luka magic. We have been watching Luka, and Luka is so dang good, but Luka magic is truly magical. Not to be cliche about it. It's this is the bar. He set that bar so high that we knew he could be there. And now it's all right, we're all spoiled because we've seen this past month or so. It's this is the Luka that we expect from here on out, to where if he's not doing what he's doing now we're what's wrong with him right now? And now, so
all I could think of when you kept saying the word magic was that old Disney commercial on Disney VHSs when they were advertising Disneyland. It's time to remember the magic. That's all I could think of when you're saying.
That was a great performance.
There you go.
Good.
All right, coming up. Where can Luka take the Mavericks? What can Luka do? Can he keep this up? Is this a sustainable thing? What has to happen for the Mavericks to continue to play the way that they've played while Luka is on this heater? We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about our favorite bar. It's Built Bar. It's absolutely great. I went on a trip. I took some Built Bars with me. I got my backpack. I got bars. I got bars on bars on bars on bars on bars. Built Bars. The coconut brownie chunk. Delicious. Greatest bar. It's got actual little pieces of brownie on top of it. So if you ever just want that little taste, don't you want to know what it tastes like? You just eat a Built Bar. They're absolutely delicious. Go check them out. The puffs as well. I couldn't pull a Built Bar puff out of my backpack because I ate them all because they're very, very good.
Wow.
Go check them out at built.com. Use the promo code LOCKED15. You get 15% off your entire order. If you're somehow listening within 48 minutes of this, the toffee almond is returning. And you can go check out that bar as well. Built.com. Use the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off your entire order at built.com. All right, Isaac Harris. One more stat that I wanted to share I found kind of interesting is that what else has made Luka Doncic really good this year? 2 years ago, what made Luka Doncic incredible was that he was so incredibly efficient around the rim. 2 years ago, Luka was as efficient around the rim as Giannis. Which is wild to think about how much bigger Giannis is. He was up there with some of the centers, and this year he's getting close to there. Around the rim, Luka's shooting 69%, which is nice. That's a really, really good percentage for somebody.
That is
like
nice. Nice.
There's only 2 players in the NBA taking at least 3 shots at the rim, around 5 to 9 feet from the rim, and 10 to 14 feet from the rim. So all that like around the rim little area. It's Luka and De'Aaron Fox. That name threw me for a loop, but the only players averaging at least 3 shots per game in those 3 areas near the rim. And I found that really
good percentages or just attempts?
That's the attempts. And then for the percentages, Luka at the rim is shooting the same percentage as Ayton and Jokic. From 5 to 9 feet, he's shooting the same percentage as Siakam. Like, so Luka is shooting as well as some of these bigger guys, and at the rim as well as Jokic and Ayton, like actual centers. And that's what's made him more efficient, right? That shot right there. And that all goes back to the conditioning. He would get to the rim at the beginning of the season and he would just like beef a layup. He would just like leave it short, or he would just miss it because he was putting in so much effort to get there that he just didn't have anything else to try and put the ball where exactly he wanted it. And now it comes a little bit easier to him, and he can get to the spot that he wants to, and he can throw up the ball, the shot that he wants to. And he's hitting some of these shots real close to the rim. And that's what makes Luka Doncic so good overall. And that's what's made him good this year.
Yeah, because we know he can, take it to the post. I mean, it feels like he can post up almost anybody, but it's the off the dribble stuff, because once players know that you can't take them off the dribble, then they can play you tighter to when you're trying to take these step back 30 footers or 27 footers, that then they're contested and then they're back, they're worse shots. But now that you have your legs back and you're in shape and you're blowing past people and you're getting to the rim, guess who's kind of sagging off just a little bit, giving themselves another little step, giving you a little bit more space on the perimeter. And I mean, is that playing
Patrick Beverley?
Sure. Extension Patrick Beverley.
Yeah.
But is that playing into his 3-point percentage over the past month or so? It was in the 20s. It felt like forever. And now he's up to 34% from 3 right now. That's a pretty dang big leap for him.
Yeah. You start looking at Luka's splits over the last couple of months here. And you look at for October, he shot 23%. November, he actually shot really well. He shot 38%. Then he was back down 27% in December, 28% in January. And now he's at 43% from 3 in February. So he really took a dip in October, December, January. It just was rough, which is why he was down in the the 20%. Don't do that too loud. My dog is sleeping behind me. It'll let out a blood-curdling scream. Anytime somebody delivers a package to our house, anytime, just goes off.
Well,
where can the Mavericks go with Luka playing like this?
Well, I mean, I think right now it's
knocked his mic off the table.
When he's playing like this, then you're walking into any playoff series feeling like you have the best player on the floor, and that's the number one thing. I mean, that's That's what you need in the playoffs. We know playoff basketball is so much different than regular season. And, for the Mavericks, for this last stretch of games, like getting home court advantage is your goal.
Is Luka the best player in the Western Conference playoffs? It's him or Jokic. I think Jokic is probably having a better season. But you look at the rest of these teams, like, is Steph better than Luka?
I mean, we just watch Steph go supernova.
Take 27 wide open threes in an All-Star game. We're gonna use that as part of a.
Hold up, these were not wide open threes. Some of these were dumb. Some of these are crazy.
I mean, yes. No, I mean, you don't have to convince me that
you're gonna take a crap on Steph right now.
No. I'm just saying we're using that in the All-Star game,
Anthony Davis,
as a reason for why Steph should be better than Luka. But I think he has a case. It's real close with Jokic there for sure, and Jokic is having a better season than him. But it's close with Luka going into this Western Conference playoffs. Could be the best player in those playoffs, and he can absolutely play like he is the best player in the playoffs in the West.
Yes, well, I mean, especially after seeing what he did, against Kawhi and them, last year.
For sure.
It's just insane, and with your second star in the corner, and Luka's still doing that, so like it's insane to think about.
And now their second star will still be in the corner in Davis Bertans.
But for them, I think I was going to bring it full circle at the end here. And this kind of plays into the playoff stuff is what would the Mavs have to do for Luka to be legitimately in that MVP talk and over the next month or so?
I mean, he'd have to just keep this up.
Yeah. Like keep it up, they would have to jump, you're looking at the standings right now going into their first game on Friday in Utah. They're a game and a half back from the Jazz as they're the 5th seed. Utah's the 4 seed. And then you're looking at Memphis. It's like, is there a world that they could catch Memphis? That's a big leap there. Memphis would probably have to have an injury or something.
It's not that big. I mean, it's, what is it? 5.5 games?
That's 5.5. Like you're asking Memphis.
It's a lot, but it's not
8-2.
No, it's a lot, but it's not ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not ridiculous, but I think for Dallas right now, it's you're looking at that. I mean, it's the same group of teams we've been talking about the whole time. It's Utah, Denver, Memphis. If Luka goes supernova, and let's say he
we have to say keeps going supernova because he was right,
keeps it up, and let's say they finish 4th in the West. Let's say Denver drops. Let's say Denver drops to like the play-in, and the Mavericks.
I don't see that happening, but.
Okay, I mean, it's 2.5 games, but I don't see it either way. Let's say Dallas finishes 4th. Luka finishes the season averaging like 29, 11, and 10. Does he have a shot? And
I think if he gets to 4, then all of a sudden he has home court advantage. That's a thing that all of a sudden talking heads will start talking about, right? And that's when I love
Jokic, but if that scenario plays out, Jokic does not deserve it over Luka.
And Porzingis is gone now, so all of a sudden who's the cast of characters around him is a conversation for sure. Because then I think that will open eyes as well.
100%.
Nuggets are going to get Murray back. Does that change anything for him? Some people have talked about, is Joel Embiid going to lose some votes because James Harden's going to come join him and his numbers are going to go down? Does that same thing happen to Jokic? Probably a little bit, right?
Yeah, I don't know when Murray's coming back, but let's say Harden.
They're talking about him coming back sometime in March.
Oh, well, but let's say Philly doesn't finish in the top, 2 or 3, and let's say they finish 4th. Let's say Harden takes away, some of the counting stats from Embiid. It's like now we're looking at this like Embiid, Luka, Jokic, Giannis. Like it's not impossible, and it's wild to think about with the whole narrative story of Luka at the beginning of this, beginning of the season, coming then, like he did.
To me and to Luka as well. Luka answered this question. The MVP doesn't matter as much to him. It's about what he can do playing like this, right? What can the Mavericks do playing like this? And they can absolutely win in this landscape of the West, win a first round series with Luka playing like this. He can come in and be the best player in the West and play like this and win a series. And that's what the goal has been the entire year. And Luka is unlocking that single-handedly right now.
And this is why I want the Jazz. Now, I realize the Jazz can make me look really stupid. I've been saying over the past month pretty adamantly that I want Utah over Memphis and over Denver in a first-round series. Now they're about to play the Jazz 3 times over the next like 3 or 4 weeks. And if Utah just smacks them like 2 out of the 3 times, then I'm sure y'all will be in my mentions saying, do you still want Utah?
There will be, you will have to block an insane number of Jazz fans, I think, after that. For sure. You and Joe Gardner just loving those Jazz.
Is it who's the older NBA player who loves to take shots at the Jazz? Vernon
Maxwell. You and Vernon Maxwell will just be cackling your heads off.
In the words of Vernon Maxwell, if Jazz fans have Twitter, then I'll welcome that. But no, they just got to win a first round series. If we playing like this, I think for them, the biggest thing for them, I'm not worried about Luka. I think Luka will be fine over this last stretch of the season. I want to see them continue incorporating the other guys. Like that's the key for them. If Dinwiddie can be a legitimate creator, ball handler, third guy, comes off the bench that can get buckets, Bertans can get back to shooting, 38% from 3 off the bench. If those guys can give them offense off the bench, like they've missed the offense, and they can keep the defense going, and they just fully embrace and get used to the small ball that they started experimenting with before they traded KP. That's their whole thing. And they got their squad, they got their guys now, they got their style. There's really no more like questions about the team. Like that's the thing now. It's like we pretty much have all the answers. It's just we just got to see how it plays out.
Well, we've got answers to the question. Let's just see if they can actually answer them. Like see if they can actually carry out the answers, right?
But like we know their style. We know Dwight's going to get torched against some of these really good bigs. We know they're going to small ball it. They're going to switch. They're going to be scrappy on defense. Luka's still going to be the main guy. JB is going to play off of him. They'll interchange a little bit. Like we know all of this now. So like there's really no more big questions about the team for this final stretch and going to the playoffs now, barring an injury. So now we just watch it play out and see how these guys gel and team chemistry and if they can get these new guys going.
There you go. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. Tomorrow, we will be getting into more. The top 75 players were ranked by ESPN and The Athletic. Where could Luka find himself in those in the next, I don't know, the next 100 and when they do the 100? But where's Dirk in there? Do we agree with that? We'll talk about that tomorrow. And also, are they letting us back in locker rooms anytime soon? Ooh. We would like to, but we're going to tell you why that's important for you guys. We'll tell you that tomorrow. Now make your second listen Locked On NBA. We're doing roundtables all week with a bunch of different hosts getting together in different groups and clumps. You're not going to want to miss it. The one out right now is the top of the West. So Brendan Clean from the Phoenix Suns, Cyrus Satsas from the Golden State Warriors pod, Sean Coleman from the Memphis Grizzlies, and then our own David Locke from Locked On Jazz. All did a roundtable about the top of the West, and they just made fun of David and why he was there representing the Jazz the whole time. So go check that out. Ours will be coming soon on this feed, so you don't have to go anywhere for that. And then there's all kinds of other ones for Locked On NBA. So go check it out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.